What if everything you've been taught about good and evil is not the truth but a carefully constructed illusion? Have you ever wondered if the values that society prizes are designed more to keep you safe than to free your potential? In an age where consensus is celebrated and dissent is viewed with suspicion, Friedrich Nietzsche's 19th century insights offer a daring invitation to reject conventional morality and embrace the transformative power of strength. As Nietzsche once warned, the surest way to corrupt a youth is to instruct him to hold in higher esteem those who think alike than those who think differently. These words are not just a call for rebellion. They are a rallying cry to reclaim the inner fortitude needed to live a life of authentic excellence rather than one dictated by conformity. For generations, we have been handed a rigid framework of values. Be kind, be humble, be selfless. But have you ever paused to ask, who really benefits from these prescriptions? Nietzsche challenges this norm by arguing that conventional morality is less about human flourishing and more about molding obedient, uniform individuals. In a society that praises meekness and discourages assertiveness, traits like ambition and self-confidence are all too often mislabeled as evil or selfish. Consider this. If we exalt mediocrity and suppress deviation from the norm, aren't we, in effect, engineering a population that is unable to transcend its limitations? When strength, whether physical, mental, or creative, is derided in favor of passivity, our true potential is smothered under layers of imposed virtue. Nietzsche's concept of slave morality describes exactly this inversion of values. The traits once celebrated as virtues become shackles that prevent us from achieving greatness. Ask yourself, are these moral ideals nurturing you, or are they curbing the fire that burns within? In the 19th century, Nietzsche famously declared, "God is dead." This wasn't a triumphant announcement, but a somber observation about the collapse of the traditional moral and religious certainties that had governed humanity for centuries. With the erosion of religious dogma came the dissolution of a comprehensive framework that once provided meaning and direction. In the void left behind, a new moral order emerged, one that inverted conventional values to celebrate what was once considered weakness. This emergent morality, dubbed slave morality, elevates humility, conformity, and subservience over ambition, assertiveness, and the will to create. It thrives on what Nietzsche called ressentiment, a deep, corrosive envy of those who dare to transcend their circumstances. In a society where the strong are systematically denigrated, true strength is seen as a threat. So ask yourself, have we come to value obedience over innovation and comfort over the audacity to be different? At the heart of Nietzsche's philosophy lies a compelling dichotomy, the master versus the slave. The master is a creator of values, a person who defines what is good based on personal strength, ambition, and a relentless drive to overcome limitations. In contrast, the slave clings to externally imposed morals, born of envy and a need for validation. The master is the embodiment of self-reliance, while the slave remains tethered to the herd. Imagine a visionary entrepreneur whose bold ideas are dismissed as greedy by those too afraid of change. Picture an innovator who defies tradition, only to be labeled arrogant or unethical. Nietzsche's distinction between the master and the slave becomes starkly clear. Society often punishes those who dare to break away from the norm. So, which role resonates with you? Do you aspire to become the architect of your own values? Or are you content with echoing the opinions of the many? Strength, according to Nietzsche, is not the absence of pain, but the mastery of it. His oft-quoted adage, "What does not kill me makes me stronger," captures the essence of this philosophy. For Nietzsche, suffering is not a signal to withdraw from life. It is the raw material for personal transformation. Adversity, when embraced, becomes the forge in which true character is built. Yet, modern culture has a troubling tendency to romanticize victimhood. Instead of viewing challenges as opportunities to grow, many see suffering as a mark of honor, a reason to remain passive. Are we so afraid of pain that we choose comfort over the crucible of change? Nietzsche invites us to reframe our relationship with hardship. Each setback should be seen as a stepping stone toward greater self-mastery. In every trial lies the potential for reinvention. Reflect on your own experiences. When have you turned adversity into a catalyst for personal strength? Central to Nietzsche's thought is the concept of the Ubermensch, or Overman. This figure is not a tyrant or a brute, but a visionary who has transcended the limitations of conventional morality. The Übermensch creates his own values, defining goodness on his own terms, rather than adhering to the dictates of society. As Nietzsche proclaimed, "No one can build you the bridge on which you, and only you, must cross the river of life." This metaphor underscores a vital truth. The path to self-actualization is a solitary journey that must be forged from within. The Ubermensch does not wait for external validation. He challenges the status quo and dares to innovate. But this path is not reserved for the elite few. It is a state of being that each individual can strive toward if they dare to question the old and embrace the new. Ask yourself, are you ready to be the master of your own destiny? Or will you remain confined within the limits imposed by outdated moral codes? Today's world often seems to celebrate the very qualities that Nietzsche decried. Institutions, from universities to workplaces, emphasize conformity and safety, often at the expense of innovation and individual expression. The rise of cancel culture and the prevalence of safe spaces suggest that deviation from the norm is increasingly seen as a moral failing. Is it possible that in our bid for comfort and acceptance, we are stifling the creative and disruptive energies necessary for genuine progress? Nietzsche warned that modern society's penchant for mediocrity might eventually lead to what he called the last man, a being devoid of ambition or longing for greatness, content to live a life of uninspired routine. When did the quest for excellence become synonymous with risk? And how often do we let the fear of isolation hold us back from our true potential? In an era that prizes emotional safety and conformity, the quest for self-mastery is more vital and more challenging than ever. The modern emphasis on victimhood and perpetual grievance has created a climate in which true strength is undervalued. We are taught to see vulnerability as a weakness rather than as an essential part of the human experience. Nietzsche's call to become who you are challenges us to discard the comforting lies of conventional morality. To truly excel, we must undertake the difficult journey of introspection, shedding the layers of social conditioning to reveal our raw, unfiltered selves. Ask yourself, what fears have you allowed to dictate your actions, and what truths might you uncover if you dared to confront them head-on? Self-mastery is not about amassing power over others. It is about reclaiming authority over your own life. It requires dismantling the internal barriers constructed by a society that equates humility with weakness. Only by questioning these inherited values can we begin to rebuild a life defined by genuine strength and creativity. Transformation does not come from avoiding pain. It is born from engaging with it fully. Nietzsche's metaphor of self-immolation. You must be ready to burn yourself in your own flame. How could you rise anew if you have not first become ashes? Reminds us that every ending holds the seed of a new beginning. Embracing struggle is essential to forging a resilient spirit. Instead of romanticizing victimhood, we must see every hardship as an opportunity for rebirth. Modern society, with its emphasis on safety and comfort, often discourages us from confronting the inevitable challenges of life. But if we cling to the idea that suffering is something to be avoided at all costs, we deny ourselves the possibility of transformation. Consider this. When have you experienced the most significant personal growth, and what did you learn from that struggle? The process of becoming is perpetual. Every setback is an invitation to reinvent yourself, to rebuild stronger and more self-assured than before. Nietzsche's philosophy is a call to action, a reminder that true strength emerges from the willingness to face life's adversities head-on and to use them as the fuel for our evolution. One of the most challenging aspects of Nietzsche's vision is the recognition that the path to greatness is often lonely. To dare to be different, to create one's own values, is to risk alienation from the comfort of the collective. As Nietzsche observed, the individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe. Throughout history, the trailblazers who have defied convention, innovators, artists, philosophers, often found themselves isolated, misunderstood, and even vilified. Their journeys were marked not by the approval of the many, but by the relentless pursuit of their ideals despite overwhelming opposition. Reflect for a moment. Have you ever felt isolated for holding beliefs that diverge from the norm? What might you achieve if you were willing to embrace that isolation as a necessary step toward greatness? The solitude of the visionary is not a punishment, but a crucible where true independence and strength are forged. The cost of greatness is indeed steep, but it is also priceless. True innovation, the kind that reshapes society, demands a willingness to stand apart, to risk ridicule and rejection in order to pursue a higher calling. The challenge is clear. Are you prepared to accept this isolation as part of your journey? Or will you let the fear of being different keep you tethered to mediocrity? As we navigate the turbulent currents of the 21st century, marked by rapid technological change, environmental crises, and deep social divisions, the need for a renewed emphasis on personal strength has never been more pressing. The comforting illusions of traditional morality offer little guidance in a world that demands radical innovation and fearless leadership. Nietzsche's vision invites us to reclaim the dormant power within ourselves and to build a legacy not defined by external validation, but by inner resilience and creativity. It's a call to reject the seductive ease of conformity and to instead embrace the challenging, sometimes painful, process of self-overcoming. Imagine a society where individuals are not judged by their adherence to conventional morality, but by their capacity to transform adversity into opportunity. What might the future look like if each of us committed to becoming the best version of ourselves? This is not a call for reckless abandon or unbridled aggression. It is an invitation to cultivate a fierce, independent spirit, one that recognizes that the true measure of strength lies in one's ability to forge a unique path in the face of overwhelming odds. Consider the leaders, innovators, and thinkers who have left an indelible mark on history. Their greatness was not the result of conformity, but the product of relentless self-belief and the courage to challenge the status quo. Now, more than ever, we need that same spirit. Ask yourself, what legacy do you wish to create, and how will you shape the future with your own hands? The clock is ticking, and the challenges of our time demand a decisive response. Nietzsche's timeless words compel us to choose between the ease of mediocrity and the arduous journey toward self-mastery. We stand at a crossroads. Will we continue to embrace the comforting lies of conventional morality? Or will we dare to seek a life defined by strength, creativity, and autonomy? This is not a call for ruthless self-interest or cruelty, but rather an invitation to cultivate an inner resilience that allows us to face life's uncertainties with confidence. True greatness, as Nietzsche envisioned it, is not a gift bestowed by society, but a force that must be awakened from within. It requires that we shed the old skins of habit and embrace a new, more authentic identity. As you reflect on these ideas, consider the following. What would you sacrifice in order to reclaim your power? How far are you willing to go to become the person you were always meant to be? These questions are not meant to intimidate, but to inspire a deep introspection about the values you hold and the future you wish to create. Nietzsche's legacy is a profound challenge to every one of us, to rise above the limitations imposed by society and to ignite the fire of inner strength. His call to become who you are is both a promise and a demand. That true greatness lies not in the pursuit of external approval, but in the relentless quest for self-actualization. In every struggle, there is an opportunity to reinvent yourself. In every moment of pain, there is the potential for a rebirth. The journey toward self-mastery is not easy, and it is fraught with uncertainty and risk. Yet, it is precisely this risk that holds the promise of transformation. Every time you confront a setback with courage, you add another brick to the bridge that will carry you toward a future defined by your own values. Imagine waking up each day with the unyielding belief that you have the power to shape your destiny. What would you do differently if you no longer feared failure or rejection? What might you achieve if you could harness every challenge as a stepping stone toward greatness? This is the essence of Nietzsche's forgotten lesson, that the true measure of a person is not found in adherence to outdated moral codes, but in the strength to reinvent oneself continuously. In the echo of Nietzsche's timeless wisdom lies an urgent message for our era. Strength matters more than blind conformity. Our modern world, overwhelmed by complexity, uncertainty, and a relentless push for uniformity, requires a radical rethinking of what it means to be virtuous. The path to greatness is not paved with the safety of consensus, but with the bold steps of those who dare to defy conventional norms. We are all called upon to make a choice. Will you continue to follow a well-worn path dictated by the comfort of mediocrity, or will you choose to blaze your own trail, even if it means standing alone against the tide? The challenge is immense, but so is the potential for transformation. By rejecting the outdated moral frameworks that no longer serve us, we open ourselves to a life rich with innovation, passion, and a deep, unyielding strength. In the words of Nietzsche, he who climbs upon the highest mountains laughs at all tragedies, real or imaginary. May these words inspire you to seek the heights of your potential. Embrace the struggle, harness the fire within, and become the architect of your own destiny. The future belongs to those who dare to live dangerously, who see every setback as an invitation to rise stronger, and who understand that true virtue is born from the courage to challenge the status quo. The time for complacency is over. The world awaits those bold enough to lead it into uncharted territories of thought, creativity, and authentic power. The question remains, will you be among those who create a legacy of greatness, or will you settle for a life defined by conformity? The journey is yours to begin, the legacy yours to forge. Strength, above all else, is the key to transcending the limitations of our past and unlocking the boundless possibilities of our future. So, what will you destroy within yourself today in order to become the person you are meant to be tomorrow? The choice is clear, and the call is urgent. Embrace the challenge, trust in the transformative power of your own will, and step boldly into a future where every individual is free to define their own destiny. Remember, true strength is not about oppressing others, but about liberating yourself from the chains of convention. Let Nietzsche's forgotten lesson resonate in your heart. To become extraordinary, you must dare to be different, to question every assumption, and to relentlessly pursue the truth of who you are. In this quest, every moment of struggle is not a defeat but a victory, a stepping stone toward a life of unparalleled authenticity and strength. The journey ahead may be daunting, but the reward is a life lived on your own terms, a legacy of innovation, and the satisfaction of knowing that you never compromised your potential for the sake of conformity. Are you ready to answer the call? The future is waiting for those brave enough to claim it. Strength matters. It is the silent force that transforms adversity into opportunity, that turns every hardship into a catalyst for growth. Nietzsche's philosophy reminds us that true virtue lies in the courage to challenge, to innovate, and to redefine what it means to live authentically. As you stand at the crossroads of your own life, remember that every great journey begins with a single step, a step taken in defiance of the ordinary, in pursuit of the extraordinary. Choose to be bold. Choose to embrace the fire within. And above all, choose to become the master of your own fate. The legacy you build today will echo in the lives of future generations. The world does not need more good people. It needs giants, visionaries, and individuals who dare to risk everything in the pursuit of truth and self-realization. In embracing Nietzsche's timeless lessons, we not only challenge the morality of the past, but also ignite the spark of a future defined by strength, resilience, and the unwavering pursuit of greatness. The call to greatness is universal, and the time for action is now. What will your legacy be? Will you live a life confined by the outdated dogmas of the past, or will you stand tall as a beacon of strength and innovation, redefining what it means to be truly alive? The answer lies within you. Embrace the struggle, trust in your inner power, and let the spirit of Nietzsche guide you on a journey toward an extraordinary, self-determined future.